Okay, how's everyone going today? It's another great Michigan day out there, and I thank you for joining me. I hope that everyone is doing well. And we're going to talk about some real estate news up and down the I-275 and the 23 corridors. I'm Bruce Webb with the Bruce Webb team of realtors. We work out of the preferred office in Plymouth, and we've been doing this a short time now. This is our 30th year of being in business. We have a team of agents that work with us, and we are proud to serve the community. So wanted to jump right on in, but again, if you have any questions or any concerns, type them on in, and we'll be glad to try to answer them as we go along here today. We're going to talk about the Plymouth Township area in Ann Arbor. We're also going to be talking about the title insurance and some home inspection, things that you should be looking out for on that. So those are our main topics today. We got a lot of information, so I'm going to jump right on into it. And so let's get with Plymouth Township and what's going on there. As we've been saying for the last few weeks, inventory is super low, and I get this information from the RealComp, which is the multiple listing service. They're approximately a month behind what's actually going on in the community by the time we get the reports. So we're giving you February's information, and I know that we're March and April, we're right here. So we should be getting their information fairly shortly for last month. But to give you an example, the one thing that I haven't talked about in the past is month's supply of inventory, and that is how long it would take to sell every piece of property that is on the market if we continued to sell the properties at the rate that we're going on right now. A year ago, back in 2020, we were at 1.6 months worth of inventory, and this year we're at 0.5. So about 15 days we would be able to sell everything that's on the market in the Plymouth Township. What that means is, well, typically what we're saying, anything less than 3 or 4 months is a seller's market. Between the 4 and 6 months is sort of a balanced market. And then anything over a 6-month period of inventory is a seller's market. So we're at a 0.5 for Plymouth Township right now. In 2020, in February, they had 44 homes on the market, and this year we had 28, which is a 36% decrease in inventory. So you can see why things are fighting. We just put in an offer here this last weekend on a property that had 17 offers on it, and they went well over asking price. So it is a crazy time right now. Obviously, it is very good for sellers. With the interest rates being as low as they are, it's a pretty good time for buyers though too. So the cost of buying is down. So it's creating this storm right now that we have. What we haven't been able to talk about up until now is the sort of the year to date. Now that we're into some additional figures here for a couple of months, to give an example, new listings from 2020 for January and February, there was 40 new listings. This year there was 34. So we're even down with the number of listings that are getting onto the market. And then closings was like 36 to 28. So that's the Plymouth Township. And again, if you have any questions, we'll be glad to try to answer them for you, and we'll go from there. Title insurance. Very important title insurance. There's basically 2 types of title insurance. One for the buyer or the soon-to-be owner, and the one is for the lender, the mortgage company that you're getting that from. And basically, with most insurance companies or most insurance policies, you are insuring for the future, something, accident that might happen in the future. With real estate insurance, you're actually insuring for something that might have happened in the past. By this, I mean, what the buyer is looking for is to make sure that nothing happened in a title transaction in the past, that maybe there was a misspelling of a name, or there was incorrect title description or something of that nature that might cause them to lose the property, or someone who has an heir to that property in the past comes forward and says, no, you don't own this property. That was given down to me through my family or something of that nature. So that's what the insurance title and insurance policy is supposed to protect, is the buyer from something like that happening. And then for the lender, it's to make sure that they've already given the money out. They want to make sure that they get it back at some time or another. So basically that's what title insurance is all about, is to insure those two people. So I think it's very important in both cases to get if you need to. So what we have also going on in Ann Arbor is right now, we haven't talked about Ann Arbor, but it is another community that is hurting for inventory. Again, to give you an example, back in 2020, there was approximately 57 days on the market, and we're down to 36. Now, again, these are averages, and your better priced right homes they're popping off the market within the first weekend. Okay, and if they go 2 weekends, it'd be surprising. And if you get past that, we're probably overpriced, and because we do have fairly smart buyers out there, and they're not going to pay, unless they get into a bidding war, which that's where we're at right now. But something you should take a look at. Last year, they had 2 months worth of inventory at this time, and we're at 1.7 months worth of inventory. So they had 145 homes on the market compared to 119 as of February this year. So you can see that there's a big change, in what's happening going on right now. So all the communities in the area up and down the 275 and the 23 corridors are extremely short of inventory, so it's a great time to be selling, or at least thinking about selling here this summer, and we'd be glad to help them out with that. The other topic that we wanted to talk about today was inspections. Okay, the state of Michigan does not require an inspector to be licensed, so for my team, we always recommend nationally certified inspectors that have gone through several hours, usually about 750 or 1,000, depending on what national certifications they have, hours of training. And most of them, in fact, I think all of them have a builder's license of some sort or in their back pocket as well. So, anybody walking up and down the street, they could put up a sign saying, hey, I'm a home inspector. And so you got to watch who you're working with, and we recommend the best in our community. Now, when you go on a home inspection, you should have require about 2.5 to 3 hours, depending on the size of the home and what is actually going to be inspected. Most inspectors are going to inspect a visual inspection. That's what they can see. They can't get inside the walls. They can't take things apart to see if they're working, but they can take like the electrical panel off so they can look at if the wiring is done correctly, but they can't cut holes in the drywall to see if the wiring behind the wall was done properly or not. So as I said, it usually takes about 2.5 to 3 hours. It's something that the buyer should be right there with the inspector, because it's very important to not only know what the condition of the house is, but it also helps you to plan for the future and what things that you can do. Is your sort of get together with your honey-do list, as I call them, to make sure that you can, like if the furnace is in good working order right now, but it's getting older, you can plan for the future to either replace the furnace or have it have some maintenance done on it in the future for you. So we want to make sure that that's been taken care of. So what we're really looking for in a home inspection is something that is worth might cost the buyer $1,000 or more, or something that would be a safety or a health issue. When I say $1,000 or more, there's when we initially walk through the property, and before we put the offer on, the we didn't get into the attic and we didn't open up the furnace, and there's things that we didn't see. But as we're walking up to the house and we saw that the driveway is cracked, those are one of those things that we have to take in mind, that we sort of saw that as we came. So we have to make sure our offer on the property acknowledges that type of repair already. Yes, the inspector is going to tell us that is, there is a crack, it's a trip hazard, and we might be, we need to take care of it. But that's something that we can either put in the purchase agreement at the beginning to let the seller know that we want that fixed before we close on the transaction, or we're putting this in, we're making this offer with the knowledge of that crack being noticed, and that's why we offered this type of purchase agreement. So typically the main things that we find that have issues are the electrical, furnace, roof, attic. Those are the main things that will have a high cost to them. So those are things that we want to make sure that we can negotiate. And if we do find things, where do we go from there? How do we take care of those types of issues? Well, there's basically about 4 ways that we can take care of it. One, we can just assume the responsibility and take care of those things ourselves, and we move on with the transaction. Or 2, we can go back to the seller and say, look, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there's a problem with the furnace. Here's what our inspector said. We can call in heating and cooling contractor to give us a quote on how much it's going to cost to repair, and they could actually have it repaired. Or we can ask the seller to give us a dollar amount if we felt that it's going to cost $2,000 or $3,000 to repair the furnace. We can say, could you just give us concessions at the time of closing, and we'll take care of the repairs ourselves once we're in the home. Or we can have the seller just sort of say, we're not going to take care of it, or we're going to take care of it. Or the buyer can say, well, if you're not going to take care of it and we can't work out a reasonable negotiation on this, then we're going to walk away from the deal. So those are basically things that we can do after we find out something is wrong with the property. So those are some of the things that we might want to consider when you're doing the home inspection. You're going to be there for, as I said, for about 2.5 to 3 hours. I highly recommend that if there's time there that there's going to be some downtime, let's put it that way. It's a great time to take some measurements of the property, of the home or something like that. If you want to get some different types of drapes in, or if you want to make sure that your couch is going to fit in a certain area or things like that. Because there are going to be times when it's the inspector is going to have some downtime where he's taking some notes and he's putting it into the report, and you can take that time to inspect the house on your own a little bit, or make sure that the measurements are where you're at. So, if you have any questions on that, again, we're here to answer those. You can give us a call at area code 734-392-6021. We're the Bruce Webb team, and if we look forward to seeing you next week at the same time, 11:45, with some more great information about the real estate market up and down the I-275 and the 23 corridor. Have a great day.